All praise to the most high creator and sustainer of life. Thank you for your good works, your prayers. Thank you for your presence and your subscription, your comments and questions. Hello, it is Saturday, March 22nd, 2025, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Welcome to Church Talk Unlimited with James Paul Berry, and welcome to spring. Today we're going to talk briefly about a subject that seems to make us so nervous, and that's God's money. Afraid to spend God's money except on yourselves. And we're going to use for our scriptural context Luke chapter 6, verses 37 and 38, where Jesus is speaking and he says, "Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven." But I really want to focus in on verse 38, where he says, "Give, and it will be given to you, a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Now, my understanding is that those who are liberal, those who are bountiful in their giving, they will receive an abundance, a good measure, not just adequate, but a good measure. If you press it down, you can't get any more in there. If you shake it together, it settles, but you can't get any more in there. It just runs over and pours out into your lap. For with the measure you use, verse 38, it will be measured to you again. Give, and it shall be given to you. More than enough. When I look at these and other Bible scripture, I don't wonder about God's grace and mercy. I wonder about the grace and mercy of the church, particularly preachers and church leaders, when it comes to money. Now, before you turn me off, give me about 5 or 10 minutes. Imagine these churches that have been in business more than 60 years. Now, I'm saying that amount of time, so if you had a mortgage, you could have had a mortgage and you could have gotten a second mortgage, and you paid that off in 60 years. So now the money that you collect is used for what? For operating expenses, of course, utilities, a few things here or there. I did a calculation of a church that has 700 members who gives $20 every week for 30 years. And that price, that amount came out to be $21,840,000. Preachers have often said, welcome, blessings to you as well. Preachers have often said the church's money does not belong to them, but they handle the church as if it does belong to them, as if they are like CEOs, welcome, CEOs of a corporation. And I know that some people will say, well, instead of talking about these things, whatever people get from this corporate type structure, they should be thankful. And I agree. We should always be thankful. But the Church of Christ, the church that Jesus said, I will build on this rock, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it, is unique according to the New Testament. The church that Jesus built does not get its moral compass from the U.S. government. It doesn't wait on the U.S. government, but it does what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good work and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Paul says, God, be ye thankful because God shall supply your every need. And Jesus says, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. People are correct when they say people who get a little bit of something from the church should be thankful. They should be. When I look at the writings of the Apostle Paul to Timothy and Titus, especially to the preachers, the elders, and the deacons of the churches, I can't understand why they are afraid to spend God's money except on themselves, except on yourselves. There are preachers who have made a career living off of God's money. I'm talking about the money that belongs to the church, money that has been collected over the years and put in the bank or in the treasury or whatever. They are afraid to spend it, and I'm afraid selfishly because they want to continue to get what they need. Jesus taught the disciples to have faith so that the results of their faith would be realized in real time. Why would Jesus teach, I have come that you might have life and have it more abundantly? And if you can only have abundant life, it's after this life. Why would Jesus even come? I'm not trying to stop preachers from being supported, but it's not all preachers that are being supported. That's another problem. It's only special preachers in these churches that get the support. But we have enough money sometimes, and it's God's money. We have enough to go around to support the good work, to support the gospel of Jesus Christ being preached. Afraid to spend God's money except on yourselves. You know why? Because you don't have faith. You're living by fear and not by faith. You're teaching the church to walk by faith and not by sight, but you're walking by the numbers. You want to make sure that you have enough for yourself, for your family. But I think the church that Jesus built should be about the business of making sure that every family has enough for itself. And Jesus has promised, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. People shouldn't be losing their houses who are God's people, who are God's servants. These people shouldn't be being kicked outdoors when they have a church that is rich in material things. Afraid to spend God's money except on yourselves. I know we don't want to admit it. We want to pretend that we don't have any problems, but we know better. Sometimes church leaders contribute to the poverty of the people. Jesus, according to the Bible, has all power in heaven and earth. That means that power is being used on me and you, all of our lives, and on everybody else. This power has been used to bless the church with life. And that life is not them, that life is us. That life is not the building and the cars on the parking lot. That life is the people who meet there. We have been blessed with life, with jobs, with education, with careers, and with monies that have been brought, at least a percentage of all of that money have been brought, that we've been blessed with and laid at the church leaders' feet, so to speak. Now, Jesus is the head of the church, right? Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Jesus taught in the Bible passages that we use this evening that if you give with the right heart, you will be blessed. Well, what my question is, if the church leaders are there to bless those who are coming under their leadership, listening to their teaching, to their encouragement, why do they stop encouraging when it comes to money, especially if it's God's money? Why do Christians have to suffer so much monetarily? Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. Jesus said, make friends with unrighteous mammon. Now he says, don't love mammon. You can't love God and mammon, he said. You can't serve them both. But he said, make friends with unrighteous mammon. Why do Christians suffer so much monetarily? Because somebody is not believing in the Jesus of the Bible. I did another calculation, 200 people giving 50 years each of their lives to the service of the church is 10,000 years of service. Can you imagine how much money has been given and how much service has been given and is still being given in 10,000 years of service? I know people don't understand. Why would I talk about these types of things instead of things that show that we are doing good in these areas? Because I find that many times the things that people struggle with the most is money enough to get themselves out of the hole, out of a hole, or out of some holes. And if it's God's money, brothers, why are you afraid to spend it on others other than yourself? Some of you, even when you decide to help somebody, you take up a collection. You don't use the money, the surplus money that you've been holding on to for sometimes decades. The people don't even know how much money is there. If it belongs to God, it belongs to God's people. Until next time, I wish you all the things that you need. God bless you. Hello, Eunice. Hello, Willie. And hello, Vonnie. It's good to have you all here. Blessings and love to you as well. Thank you so much. It's always good to have somebody here with me beside the Lord and me. And we are going to have to do more work to try to make this Bible church come alive, is my faith. And we're going to have to do it by serving people. Anyway, thank you guys for being here with me. And God willing, I hope to see you the next time. Have a great weekend.